Guys, I think I figured something out. I think God is jealous of heavy metal because every time we lose someone we love, someone who gave us their soul through music, they're taken away from us far too soon. And I've started to wonder, what if God isn't taking them away? What if He's recruiting them? If you know Metallica, you know how important he was. But I don't think calling him a bassist really tells you what made him special. Cliff played the bass like it was a lead instrument. He brought this completely different energy to Metallica, and you can hear it all over those early records. He played on Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, and Master of Puppets. Three albums that became some of the most important records in metal. And then there's Orion. I mean, just listen to what he's doing there. And he helped give early Metallica a character that people still talk about today. And the crazy part is that he was only 24 when he died. So when I look at someone like Cliff, this is where my completely ridiculous theory starts to make sense. Maybe the gods weren't done with him. Maybe they just needed a bass player. And wherever Cliff is now, I like to imagine he's still playing, just somewhere we can't hear him. And then there's Alexi Laiho. This one is personal because if you ask me who the greatest guitarist of all time is, I don't need to think about it. It's Alexi. I don't care who you put next to him, for me, there is no one like him. Alexi was a complete wild child. He had this insane energy, this attitude, this technical ability that almost didn't seem human. But what made him special wasn't just how fast he could play, it was the melodies. He took influences from classical music, from composers like Mozart, and somehow turned those ideas into Children of Bodom. You could hear the melody, the aggression, the darkness, and the fun all at the same time. And when I listen to Alexi, I don't just hear a guitar, I hear someone who completely gave himself to music. And that's what makes losing him so difficult. He was only 41 years old, and it still feels like there should have been so much more. More songs, more riffs, more ridiculous solos, and more Alexi being Alexi. But this is where my theory becomes very easy for me to believe. Maybe the gods didn't take Alexi away from me. Maybe they just wanted him to play for them too. And then there's Chester Bennington. Out of everyone in this video, Chester is probably the one who means the most to me. His music helped me through some of the hardest moments of my life, and I know I'm not the only one. For millions of people, that voice was a place to put emotions they didn't know how to express themselves. That scream wasn't just screaming, you could hear the pain in it. You could hear the anger, the frustration, the sadness, and somehow hearing Chester go through these emotions made it a little easier for the rest of us to go through our own. From One Step Closer to Minutes to Midnight, one of the albums that means the most to me, songs like In Pieces and Shadow of the Day, and eventually One More Light. His voice kept changing, but the connection never disappeared. When Chester died, it genuinely broke my heart. It felt like losing someone I knew, even though I never met him. And I think that's the strange, beautiful thing about music. Someone can be on the other side of the world, someone you've never spoken to, and somehow their voice can become part of your life. So, if I'm going to believe in this ridiculous theory of mine, I don't have to think very hard about Chester. Of course, he's with the gods. Of course, he's singing for them. Because someone who gave so much to the world through his voice deserves to keep singing somewhere. Then there's Joey Jordison. If you've ever seen that legendary drum cam footage of Joey playing Eyeless, you already know what I'm talking about. Just look at this guy, the speed, the energy, but more than anything, the passion. Joey wasn't just a drummer sitting behind a kit keeping time. He was a huge part of what made Slipknot feel like Slipknot. The aggression, the speed, the chaos, he brought so much of that into the music. And when you watch him play, you can see that he genuinely loved it. And underneath all of that was an incredible musician. He inspired an entire generation of drummers to pick up those sticks and try to do things they probably had no business trying to do. He was only 46 when he died. And once again, I find myself looking at someone who gave so much to music and thinking way too soon. So, yeah, I think I've made my case. Cliff Burton, Alexi Laiho, Chester Bennington, Joey Jordison. Four musicians who gave us so much, and all of them left us far too early. But I like my theory. I like to think that gods are building their own metal bands. And if that's true, they've already got one. Rest in peace, legends, and thank you for your music.